turning 250, and it's time to rock out with our forefathers. American-made, battle-ready style for true patriots. Whether you're marching in the parade, grilling in the backyard, or raising a toast to liberty, do it in the gear that screams freedom. Celebrate 250 years of USA in style. Wear your American pride loud. Trendjackers.etsy.com. Grab yours before the fireworks.
From Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown, this is Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. TicketBash.com, where memories are made affordable and where you'll never pay a service fee. Sports Bash is also presented by the Ryan Anthony Head Start Fund, a group of like-minded individuals trying to raise awareness to our future generations of all possibilities of success other than just college. For more information, visit www.lookwhomadeit.org. Hi again, everybody. Happy Thursday. Welcome to Sports Bash. I'm Peter Schwartz. 516-465-3990 is the number to call. We have a terrific show for you again today. A guest I've been excited about for about a week since we found out that he was going to be on the show. We're going to be joined by former Islanders forward Benoit Hogue a little bit later on in the program. Benoit is going to be on the Islanders alumni team that's going to be facing the cast of Shoresy in the Shoresy Classic next Wednesday, December 10th at UBS Arena. So we're going to talk to Benoit about playing in that game next week, about his time with the Islanders, and we'll get more into this with him later in the show. But he is really an example of how people just don't appreciate Long Island until they've been here before. And I've talked about this on the show before, where for years, the Islanders have had trouble attracting free agents to come here. Now, part of the problem was, for a lot of those years, the Islanders have stunk. But even now, with a brand new arena, and even when it was in the planning stages and was being built, it was hard to get players to come here. You could never get a marquee free agent. But once players came here, whether they were drafted here or the Islanders traded for them, and they got to see all of Long Island, they fell in love with it and stay here. In Benoit's case, he came to the Islanders in the Pat LaFontaine trade, wound up finishing his career elsewhere, but then he came back here and lived. He still lives on Long Island. So we'll talk to Benoit about that, planting some roots here on the island, playing in the Shoresy game next week, and we'll talk about his time with the Islanders, including that great run in 1993 when they went to the conference final. And you never know, if the Montreal Canadiens got called for the 19 guys on the ice that they had, the Islanders might have won that series. Or, that's me sounding like a baby from many, many years ago. But we'll talk to Benoit about that later in the show. We'll also have What's Hot at TicketBash.com, the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day, and we'll check out the Coach's Collectibles item of the week. By the way, I wasn't the only one upset about that, because the Islanders lost an overtime game. They actually lost a couple overtime games to the Canadiens in that series in 93. And I remember, it was game 3 at the Coliseum. The Canadiens scored the game-winning goal. They should have been called for a penalty. And I remember how angry Al Arbor was in the press conference afterward. He was like, "Oh, it's quite obvious that the NHL wants the Montreal Canadiens in the Stanley Cup final." I think Al was fined for that comment, but he was right, because the Islanders got screwed in that series, but that's a story for another day. Again, What's Hot at TicketBash.com, the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day, and we'll check out the Coach's Collectibles item of the week. We're going to talk about the casino that's coming to Citi Field. Whenever that winds up being built, I have some thoughts on it. I know Tony, our resident Met fan, Tony Walker, the host of the Knock 'em Dead comedy show, weekdays from 11 to 12:30 here on Governor's Comedy Club podcast. I'll get Tony's thoughts. You might be surprised at my thoughts, and I'll share them in the next segment, so we'll talk about that. But what I wanted to start with today is that sports is a pretty special thing. And I think people who don't follow sports, don't like sports, will not understand a word of what I'm about to talk about. Because when you're a sports fan, obviously you grow attached to the teams that you root for. But the next layer in that is you get attached to the players who play for your teams. And years ago, even when I was a kid growing up, it was very, very rare for a star player, a significant player, to go to another team. It just didn't happen. There was no salary cap. There was no free agency like we know it today. So if you rooted for a team and there were really good players on that team, those players didn't go anywhere. But obviously over time, things changed. And it became a point where teams had to say goodbye to players that they really didn't want to say goodbye to. It's a sign of the times, and it's just something that as sports fans we have to deal with. You love a player, and the player is now gone. And I go through this with my kids all the time. I go through it with people I work with family, everything. How dangerous it is now to buy a jersey of your favorite player, because you don't know how much longer that player is going to be. And I would say to my son Jared, "What Met jersey do you want for your birthday?" or whatever. And he has to go look at the roster. Like, "Dad, what's a safe player to get?" Now, when you're a kid, listen, you're going to outgrow a jersey anyway. So it obviously doesn't matter if you have to get a new jersey every couple of years. It's, until you finish growing, it doesn't matter. But you really just don't know. Like, even a contract is not a contract anymore. You can trade a guy and eat some of the money. So it's very, very difficult to latch on to a player that's on your team now, because you just don't know how long he's going to go. The hardest part about saying goodbye to a player on your team is when he's homegrown. Because if you draft a player, he comes up through your minor league system, he becomes a star instantaneously, and he becomes such an integral member of your team. Imagine the pain of what it's like to see that player go. And for Islander fans, tonight is a night to think about that and to experience it and to welcome back a player that created so many great memories for the Islanders and their fans since he was drafted a number of years ago. Tonight, the Islanders play the Colorado Avalanche at UBS Arena, and that means that the Islanders are going to welcome back a player who somewhere down the road, and I'm not blowing smoke here, but Brock Nelson is going to be in the Islanders Hall of Fame one day. He is that good of a player. He was that good of a player for the Islanders, and there will be a night, like we're going to have next Saturday for Pat LaFontaine. There will be a day or a night when Brock Nelson is inducted into the Islanders Hall of Fame. An American-born player, a first-round draft pick. He was an electric player for the Islanders, and I say that with all sincerity. I mean, he was a great Islander. He loved being here on Long Island. He loved wearing that Islanders jersey. And, of course, his time with the Islanders ran out last year at the trading deadline when he was dealt to the Colorado Avalanche. And the deal with the Islanders got, a first-round pick out of it. They got Cal Ritchie, who's now in the Islanders starting lineup. So it's not like the Islanders just gave him away for nothing. It was a good trade for both teams because it helped Colorado. They're a Stanley Cup contender. And as much as you would have loved to have seen Brock Nelson hoist the Stanley Cup wearing an Islanders jersey, if the Islanders don't make the playoffs or they get eliminated before playing Colorado in the Stanley Cup final, I think a lot of Islander fans would love to see Brock Nelson hoist the cup with Colorado if the Islanders are out of it. And I think of Brock Nelson going to Colorado and having a chance to win the Stanley Cup, I actually think of a guy like Ray Bourque. And I'm not saying that Brock Nelson was as great of a player in totality as Ray Bourque was for the Bruins, but Ray Bourque never won a Stanley Cup with the Bruins. He goes to Colorado and he wins a Stanley Cup with the Avalanche. And I would like to see the same thing happen to Brock Nelson if the Islanders don't make the playoffs and if the Islanders are eliminated before they play Colorado in the Stanley Cup final. But it's going to be an emotional night without question at UBS Arena. And you know what happens now these days when players come back to the team that they used to play for, whether it's baseball, football, whatever. Hockey, they usually do it at the first TV timeout, and that's what we are expecting tonight. And the interesting thing with tonight is there's this excitement level when you're a fan of a team when the schedule comes out. And when the NHL schedule came out, I guess it was late spring, early summer. I forget when the schedule winds up getting released. I think it was after. It had to have been before free agency. I don't remember. And anyway, free agency July 1st. The schedule came out. And I remember my younger son, Jared, looking at the schedule and saying, Dad, we have to go on December 4th when they play Colorado. We have to welcome Brock Nelson back. And I said, absolutely. And, some games I go and I cover the games for FAN and here for the show. And there are some games I like to go with my family, whether it's the 4 of us, 3 of us, 2 of us, or whatever. And tonight, me and my son, Jared, are going to the game. And we are very, very excited for that video that they're going to show at the first TV timeout to welcome back Brock Nelson. And while I do not attest to be as technologically savvy as the Islanders' social media and digital team, I did take some time the other day to put together this little tribute video for Brock Nelson.
New York Islanders are proud to select from War Road High School, Brock Nelson.
Okay, they went with the bloodlines of the Christian family, the nephew of Dave Christian. Brock Nelson, who I believe is going to the University of North Dakota, which is not uncommon for kids from War Road, Minnesota. Even though it's in Minnesota, it's kind of North Dakota territory.
He is thrilled that Mr. Welch is in the lineup, as Eric is from Union College. Centering feed, Nelson, he scores! Brock Nelson, his first National Hockey League goal!
And the Chicago Blackhawks. In over the line comes Nelson, driving, Leddy! Stopped by Korpisalo. Here's Leddy again, steps in front, pass across, they score! Brock Nelson, 33 seconds into overtime.
Nelson wins the faceoff, quickly over for Josh Bailey. Bailey takes a look, got it through, Nelson scores! A power play goal for Brock Nelson, the lead is back at 2.
Villiers, and then controls Phil Myers, but not out, cut off by Bailey. Josh Bailey, Brock Nelson, his shot, he scores! Brock Nelson goes top shelf.
Played up at center, little tip pass, and it's brought in by Brock Nelson, going to the net, scores! Brock Nelson!
No, they don't.
Looked like it went in.
It did, the light went on, the crowd went nuts, the referee said play off.
A turnover, so what's good for the Gooses, good for the Gander, and
That was number 28. That was Lindholm who turned that one off as he fired it right in front of the net. Brock Nelson's got it all. And you watch the replay, and yeah, that one's in the toy department, Brendan. Everybody on Twitter has been waiting for me to use that.
After video review, the puck hit the camera in the back of the net. We have a good goal.
I don't know how you're able to play a game like this that is up to your identity with everything going on right now and the noise and knowing what it means to wear this Islanders jersey for you.
Just worried about playing the game. That's about it.
I think I can speak for the fans and your teammates. You are one of those players that put your heart and soul into every game. You have made everyone proud to be an Islanders fan. What has it been like for you being a part of a win against a Winnipeg team that's so good and taps into the identity of this team that you've been a core part of for so long?
Yeah, I think it's just a testament to the no quit. We had a tough one last night. We talked about a response. Great job by Lizzie setting the tone there. That was a big fight, standing up for us, and just sending a message. And tough back-to-back. It's a really good team. It's a big win for us.
What's the most special part about playing here at UBS Arena for you?
Everything. I mean, all of it. I think it's a great place, great fans. Yeah.
Brock, I hope to see you soon. Thanks so much for your time. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
So a lot to unpack in that video. You saw Brock Nelson get drafted, and that was Kevin Connolly who announced the draft pick for Islander fan and from Entourage, Long Island native. So you saw that. We saw his first NHL goal. We saw a couple of goals he scored during the 2020 playoffs in the bubble, which, you know, I put out something on Twitter earlier today, like what was your favorite Brock Nelson moment? And for me, it was his performance in the bubble, scoring 9 goals, and I think he had like 18 points in the 22 playoff games the Islanders played that year in the bubble during COVID. We saw some other goals that he scored. We saw that goal you saw in the package there that went to video review. That was the first Islanders goal scored at UBS Arena when they finally opened up the building. They lost the game to Calgary, but Brock Nelson, I think, appropriately scored the first Islanders goal at their new home at UBS Arena. And then we saw the interview that Benoit, sorry, I think Benoit Hogue is coming up on the show. We saw the interview that Brock Nelson did with Shannon Hogan. It was the last Islanders home game that he played for the Islanders before he was traded to Colorado. And you could sense the emotion that Brock Nelson had that night, knowing that his time with the Islanders was coming to an end. And you kind of saw a little bit from Shannon there in the interview too. And I could tell you that when she was doing that interview, I was online with the other reporters waiting to get into the Islanders locker room. And it always would happen. You're waiting to get in the room. Shannon does the interview with the player on the bench if the Islanders win. And then she walks right past us to go to the elevator to go back up to the press box or to go do the postgame show on the concourse. And she was a mess. She was, and I'm friendly with her, and she's talked about it, so I have no problem talking about it because I think we all felt that. If you have any association with the Islanders, you're watching one of the great players in team history is about to leave, and she was a mess, and I totally understand that because deep inside, I was too. I just didn't let it out until, you let things out in different ways. I think I might bring some tissues with me tonight because I get a little emotional like that sometimes to a fault. But it's just hard to put into words what it means to watch a player get drafted by your team, become a member of that team. He went through the AHL, Bridgeport Sound Tigers, and then came up to the Islanders and was just a phenomenal player, an all-star player. And it's tough to see him go, but obviously it was something that had to get done last year. The Islanders were going in a different direction. And look, there's going to be other guys that are going to go too. I don't know how the rest of the season is going to play out, but if the Islanders start to go downhill, there's players on that team that I don't think Matthew Darsh will have any problem training because he's here to build a winner. And if the Islanders fall out of the playoff race, and it's going to be hard to see him go because he's been such a really good guy. But Anders Lee, who's going to be a free agent at the end of the year, the captain, he'll help another team in the playoffs. JG Pajot is another guy whose contract is not expiring, but almost over with. He is a guy they can bring back something for. Scott Mayfield, who obviously has his bad moments, but I think overall is a pretty good player. He's got some term left on his contract. I think he's a guy that the Islanders would probably want to trade because they've got some young defensemen ready to come up. But it's all a moot point right now. Today is about Brock Nelson. It's about the ovation that he is going to get tonight during the first stoppage of play when they show that video. And I'm really looking forward to being there for that with my son, along with hopefully 17,000 other people that are going to be there as well tonight at UBS Arena. So if you're going to the game, get there early, see him doing, during warm-ups and everything. And let's all, if you're an Islanders fan and you're going to be at the game tonight, let's make sure we show him exactly how much he meant to this team during the time that he wore the blue and the orange. Speaking of blue and orange, we're going to talk about another team that wears blue and orange and the impact that some construction may have on them in the years to come. We're going to talk about the Mets and the new casino that's going to be built on the grounds next to Citi Field. We've got some other things coming up too. The Sports Bash Media poll question of the day. What's hot at ticketbash.com. We'll check in with Coach's Collectibles. A lot going on. Boy, do we have some good stuff about Coach's Collectibles coming up here on the show when we come back right after this.
Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage.
In 1982, the Marty Lyons Foundation began with a single heartfelt mission: to bring moments of joy and hope to critically ill children by granting wishes that make their dreams come true. Since that day, we have touched the lives of over 8,600 families, raising over $44 million to grant wishes that offer a beacon of light in their darkest times. These precious wishes cost an average of $7,100 each. And your support is crucial to our mission. Every donation, big or small, makes a difference. And with 84 cents of every dollar going directly to supporting our families, you can rest assured your support truly changes lives. The Marty Lyons Foundation operates 11 chapters in 14 states now, working tirelessly to reach as many children as we can. This dedication goes hand in hand with our commitment to transparency and accountability, earning us top ratings on Charity Navigator, Great Nonprofits, and Candid, which underscores our dedication to those we serve. The Marty Lyons Foundation grants wishes to children ages 3 to 17. And what really makes this foundation so special is our willingness to grant not only a first wish, but also consider a second wish to a child who continues to battle a life-threatening illness. We stand by these children, offering them hope and strength through the power of dreams, giving our children the courage to wish for more.
What's your purpose in life? Is your purpose in life to live in the big house and drive the nice car? No. Your purpose in this life is to make it a little bit better for those that follow and realize that we live for today to see a better tomorrow.
Visit MartyLyonsFoundation.org to learn more and get involved.
Welcome back to Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com and the Ryan Anthony Head Start Fund. I'm Peter Schwartz. 516-465-3990 is the number to call. Later in the show, we're going to be joined by former Islanders forward Benoit Hogue. He'll talk about the Shoresy Classic. He's going to be playing for the Islanders alumni team next Wednesday, December 10th. the Islanders alumni against the cast of the TV show Shoresy at UBS Arena. And make sure you go to our social media because we are giving away a pair of tickets to that game next Wednesday at UBS Arena. And the response to our giveaway online has been through the roof. So a lot of people are going to want those 2 tickets. We may have to ask them for 2 more because so many people have signed up for that for that contest. We may have to ask the people at Shoresy for an extra 2 tickets to give away, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. We're picking a winner on Monday, I believe, is when we're picking a winner, and we'll announce it on Tuesday's show. So we'll talk to Benoit Hogue about that coming up in the next segment. But I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about what's going on at Citi Field now that Steve Cohen has been awarded the casino license and to go forward with the whole Metropolitan Park plan that's going to happen at Citi Field with a casino and some other things that will be going on around Citi Field. And here's, in a nutshell, what I think about this. And I, for the most part, I'm for it. I think in that area, it's good to build up the neighborhood. I never liked going to Shea or Citi Field and seeing all those chop shops behind. And now you're starting to see some development. The soccer stadium for NYCFC is well under construction. They're going to be moving in there in 2027. In fact, the way it's going up now, you almost be surprised if they couldn't play there next year, but I think they're going to play one more year combined at Yankee Stadium and Citi Field and move into, I think it's Etihad Park is the name of the stadium for NYCFC. But now, and I don't know when the construction is going to start on the casino and the Metropolitan Park project, but it just brings to mind now, what are Met fans going to do to get to Citi Field once this construction gets underway? And again, I think the casino will be good for business. I know people have different feelings about it. I'm not really a gambler. I go with my wife once in a while. We'll go to Jake's 58, or we've gone to Mohegan Sun once in a while, and Aqueduct and Yonkers and things like that. Just to spend an hour or two, whatever it is. Nothing crazy. It's not like we're high rollers sitting at the table. I like to play the penny slots, and once I hit something, I print out the envelope, and I'm like, okay, I'm not playing with that money. I'm going to make sure I cash that out. But I know how people feel about the casino. I was not really in favor of them putting it where the Nassau Coliseum is. I didn't think that was going to be a smart thing to do. But now that it's going to Citi Field, and not every Met fan is going to be enthralled by the casino being built there. But the main thought here is, if you're going to go to a Mets game, and let's just say they put the shovel in the ground after the 2026 season. I don't know if anything is going to happen before this coming season, so I think it'll be status quo. But whether you take your car to Citi Field or whether you take mass transportation, this construction is going to have an effect on you either way. And when it's all said and done, the parking lot where Shea Stadium used to sit, that's where a lot of this is going to be. The casino, the park. You've seen renderings. We're showing some of them to you here on the show. So that whole lot is going to be taken up by the new project. There's going to be a parking garage somewhere on the grounds. Here's one of my questions is that, if you've been to a Met game and you park in the parking lot that used to be Shea Stadium, there's a certain spot where they have the bases marked. First base, second base, third base, home plate, where Shea Stadium was. What's going to happen with that? I mean, that I hope they still find a way to keep those markings there wherever they are. I know there's going to be some grass areas and places for people to hang out. I just hope they do keep that shrine to Shea Stadium, so to speak, and they don't take those up. I hope those get to stay exactly where they are. But if you drive your car to a Met game once that construction is up, where are you parking your car? That's a big chunk of parking. Now, there's parking on the other side as well. That's going to be very limited. There's another garage that I've parked with my family up Roosevelt Avenue in the shopping mall. It's a little bit of a walk, but you can park your car there. But that's going to be at a premium also, because if they're going to lose all those parking spots for the construction, where are you parking your car? And I think the Mets have to come up, and Steve Cohen and the whole people involved with the project, they have to come up with an explanation to people. This is what's going to happen when the construction starts. We're going to have deals with this parking place. You'll be able to get a shuttle. I don't know if that's the case. I'm just spitballing and throwing things out. Here's the other thing, too. And I know a lot of people like to take the Long Island Railroad, especially here on the island. You take mass transportation. If you live in the city, you take the 7 train. If you live on Long Island, you take the Long Island Railroad. And that's great. I grew up before I drove, and I went with friends to Met games. We would always take the railroad to Woodside, and then you'd either wait for the connecting LIRR train or you'd go upstairs and take the 7 train. Here's the problem with that. Since they built Grand Central Terminal, a lot of the trains going into Manhattan and coming back out to Long Island, they have now adjusted the schedule because now some trains go in to Penn Station and some trains go into Grand Central. With that, now has decreased the number of trains that stop at Woodside for you to change your train to go to Citi Field. So I'm wondering if the Long Island Railroad is going to be part of this project, because they're going to have some discussions. They're going to have to start adding Woodside back to some of these trains, because I can only speak for me and my family, but if it becomes a problem driving our car, and listen, there's nothing like driving your car to a game. As long as you get in and out, which, again, like MetLife Stadium is a complete disaster, and obviously UBS Arena has its challenges unless you have a really good parking pass. But there's nothing like being able to be in your car and dictating when you're going to go and when you're going to leave. However, I do like taking the train, whether it's to UBS Arena or I've taken the train to Citi Field and Shea Stadium years before that. They have to now come up with a better plan to get more people on that train. And in order to do that, you're going to have to add Woodside back to some of these trains where they've taken the Woodside spot, because now it becomes a royal pain in the ass, because you have to take, let's say you're on the Babylon branch, which is the one that my family and I take most of the time. Sometimes it's from Hicksville on the main line. But if you have to now take the train and get off at Jamaica, then go from Jamaica to Woodside, and from Woodside to Willets Point, I mean, that's a pain in the ass. That really is. That's not the way that the Long Island Railroad was developed. It was always you go to Woodside and you can go to Citi Field or Shea Stadium back in the day. So in order for this to work, the Mets are going to have to come up with a comprehensive plan to give fans some more parking options, whether it's at Flushing Meadow Park or somewhere else in the Queens area, and provide shuttles, or they're going to have to work with the Long Island Railroad as partner in this and make sure it's easy for fans to take the train. You could also, if depending on where you live on Long Island, you can drive to Great Neck, and from Great Neck it's a short Long Island Railroad ride, but there's not a lot of parking there in Great Neck, at least not illegal parking. So I think this is a concern. I'm all for it, for building and developing property and making it a destination with restaurants and things to do. But I just hope the Mets have a plan to cater to their fans, especially the ones who don't care for the gambling, to make sure that people can get to Citi Field easily. Tony Walker, my producer, is a huge Mets fan. I just wanted to ask you what your thoughts are on the casino, and are you concerned going forward about how you're going to get to Met games while this construction is going on?
I am very concerned, Peter. As you know, I am, I'm a disabled man. So walking...
Mentally or physically?
Well, both. Walking... they'd have to provide shuttles. Walking around, say, at Jamaica to catch a train would just be a pain in the butt. And, I'm not... I love the idea, like you said, of building it up, because the chop shops are such an eyesore and it looks bad, but
it's going to be. And listen, the whole neighborhood's going to be when it's all done, because you're going to have the soccer stadium. You've got people going to the U.S. Open. That's actually a nice complex. Flushing Meadow Park, the casino. It's going to be a great place to go, but it's only going to be a great place to go if you can get there effectively. And
exactly.
I certainly hope. Look, I don't think there's idiots that work in the Mets. Well, some Met fans may think there are, but I would like to think that they have a comprehensive plan that's in place. Because if you're going to have to take the train, they're going to have to make it a lot easier than making 2 stops. They're going to have to bring it back to the 1 stop at Woodside. Because,
exactly.
Or I mean, they're going to have to work with the municipalities on the Great Neck line, where you can give people parking passes or something, or they work with. They have to make it easy, because if you're going to bring 45,000 people to Citi Field, you don't want half the place getting there late, and that's going to be a big problem. So I'm all for it. I'd like to see it work out. I'm just concerned going forward that it's going to be a problem, especially when the construction is going on. And that leads us to the Sports Bash Media poll question today, presented by the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Every customer is considered family at the Embassy Diner. Mention Sports Bash and get a free dessert with your meal. Well, you heard my thoughts on it. You heard Tony's thoughts on it. So here's the question to all of you. We post a new question every Tuesday and Thursday on the Sports Bash Media X/Twitter page. Met fans, are you in favor of the casino that will be built next to Citi Field? And it's yes or no. Mine is yes, with the caveat of they have to make sure the parking and the mass transportation is adjusted. Tony, I would imagine you're on the same page as me. Yes, it's a good idea as long as they make it as easy as possible to still get to Met games.
Yeah, but to throw a little bit more into that, I'm not a gambling guy, but I was in favor of it coming to the Coliseum just for jobs and just so they could do something with that building.
The problem I had with the Coliseum, and again, yes, on the surface, I would have supported anything that brought more business. My concern is that you already saw what it was like getting out of an Islanders game at Nassau Coliseum.
True.
Right? Now, again, like the events that are there now, I mean, I was at a Long Island Nets game last week with 200 people there. So there's not a lot of events that go on there. But I just wonder what that casino project would have been like on Hempstead Turnpike with, Hofstra and Nassau Community College right there, all the businesses. Look, I'm sure they would have figured out a way to make it work. It wound up not happening. So I just hope the Mets and the city of New York have a plan to make sure that the fans. Could you imagine, I just thought of this too, can you imagine in 2027, think of an August night in 2027. And I don't even know if the casino is going to be done yet, but let's just say it's under construction. So you could have a night where the Mets are home, NYCFC is home at their new stadium, and the U.S. Open is going on. Plus the construction is going on the casino. Could you imagine what that is going to be like trying to get to Willets Point for either the Met game, the NYCFC game, or the U.S. Open? Think about it. Do you have potential of 45,000 or 40,000 people at the Met game, 20,000 people at the soccer game, and U.S. Open with grounds passes, let's say 30,000? So that's 30, 70. You're talking about almost 100,000 people that could be embarking on Willets Point on a given night with the construction that's going on at Citi Field. Whew. Glad I'm not a politician. What's hot at ticketbash.com. Tonight, the Islanders host Brock Nelson and the Colorado Avalanche at UBS Arena. Friday night, the Knicks host the Utah Jazz at the Garden. Saturday, St. John's hosting Ole Miss at the Garden. Sunday, the Jets host the Dolphins at MetLife Stadium. Monday, December 8th, the Garden Cup tennis event at Madison Square Garden. Upcoming shows and concerts. Z100's Jingle Ball is coming up on December 12th at the Garden. Andrea Bocelli is at the Garden December 17th and 18th. Tony, you much of an opera singer?
Can't you tell?
Should I try?
Please.
No, you don't want. No. The cast of thousands here wanting me to do it. No. The Jonas Brothers are at UBS Arena on December 21st, and WWE Monday Night Raw is coming to Barclays Center on January 5th. Get the best seats at the best prices with no service fees at ticketbash.com. It's time for the Coach's Collectibles item of the week. Coach's Collectibles, your number one source for 100% authentic sports memorabilia and live public autograph events. And the item of the week is this Giants Jackson Dart Cam Scattaboo 16x20 signed photo. Upcoming events presented by Coach's Collectibles, Mets broadcasters Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling, the best booth in baseball this Saturday, December 6th from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at Mulcahy's in Wantagh. If you're going, make sure you look out for my buddy Tony Walker. He's got a ticket. He's going that day to that event, so you might want to say hello and take a picture with Tony. He doesn't charge for that. On Sunday, December 14th, Mulcahy's in Wantagh will host two events, 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., a public signing with Terry Collins and umpire Tom Hallion, and then from 11 a.m. to 12:30, a signing with Mets third baseman Brett Beatty. Now, last night, Coach's Collectibles hosted Islanders forward Emil Heineman at Rip It Card Company in Cedarhurst. Our social media coordinator, Leanne Burgess, was there, took these photos and videos that you are looking at right now. And I can tell you, and I know I heard this from Leanne, I heard it from some other people that were there, and I know this from interviewing him in the locker room at practice and games. Emil Heineman is about as nice a guy. Most hockey players are, but he has really fit in well. Could you imagine how the people in Montreal must be, what they're thinking right now that they traded him? I mean, did he even know what they had? Look at that shot he's got. And he just fit in so perfectly on the Islanders team. They got 2 first-round picks from the Canadiens a first-round pick from the Canadiens for Noah Dobson, and they got Emil Heineman. So how great is that? And he's already a fan favorite, and a lot of fans were at Rip It Card Company in Cedarhurst. For more information on all of those events, visit coachescollectiblesny.com. And not only did Leanne Burgess take those videos and photos that we just saw, but she also had a chance to catch up with Emil Heineman for a couple minutes. Let's take a look at that.
How excited are you to be doing this signing today at Rip It?
It was great, yeah. They took care of me so easy today, so I had a great time. It was awesome.
Breakout season, you're off to a really great start. How is it being with a new team? How are you enjoying yourself as an Islander?
I mean, first of all, it was a really smooth transition coming here. Moving our stuff from Montreal and coming here to the new guys. They took care of me and had a really warm welcome. So I'm really happy to be here, yeah.
How are you feeling about the team as they're battling through all these injuries?
We have a lot of belief in our group still. Obviously, they're big losses for us as a group, but I felt like the last few games we've been coming back and still believing in even though we're down, we still believe we can come back and win. So I think our group is really good at just keep going and just go after it pretty much, yeah.
Great job, Leanne, and thanks to Emil Heineman for taking a couple of minutes out of his busy evening signing autographs to talk to Leanne. Again, for more information on all those events, visit coachescollectiblesny.com. The John Thiessen Children's Foundation will hold their annual holiday gala tonight at Mulcahy's in Wantagh. The foundation is celebrating 34 years of giving. For more information, please visit jtcf.org or call 516-679-5098. All right, it's time for the main event. When we come back right after this, we're going to be joined by former Islanders forward Benoit Hogue, who will be playing for the Islanders alumni team next week against the cast of Shoresy at UBS Arena. We'll talk to Benoit Hogue when we come back right after this.
Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage.
In 1982, the Marty Lyons Foundation began with a single heartfelt mission: to bring moments of joy and hope to critically ill children by granting wishes that make their dreams come true. Since that day, we have touched the lives of over 8,600 families, raising over $44 million to grant wishes that offer a beacon of light in their darkest times. These precious wishes cost an average of $7,100 each. And your support is crucial to our mission. Every donation, big or small, makes a difference. And with 84 cents of every dollar going directly to supporting our families, you can rest assured your support truly changes lives. The Marty Lyons Foundation operates 11 chapters in 14 states now, working tirelessly to reach as many children as we can. This dedication goes hand in hand with our commitment to transparency and accountability, earning us top ratings on Charity Navigator, Great Nonprofits, and Candid, which underscores our dedication to those we serve. The Marty Lyons Foundation grants wishes to children ages 3 to 17. And what really makes this foundation so special is our willingness to grant not only a first wish, but also consider a second wish to a child who continues to battle a life-threatening illness. We stand by these children, offering them hope and strength through the power of dreams, giving our children the courage to wish for more.
What's your purpose in life? Is your purpose in life to live in the big house and drive the nice car? No. Your purpose in this life is to make it a little bit better for those that follow and realize that we live for today to see a better tomorrow.
Visit MartyLyonsFoundation.org to learn more and get involved.
Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
In 1982, the Marty Lyons Foundation began with a single heartfelt mission: to bring moments of joy and hope to critically ill children by granting wishes that make their dreams come true. Since that day, we have touched the lives of over 8,600 families, raising over $44 million to grant wishes that offer a beacon of light in their darkest times. These precious wishes cost an average of $7,100 each. And your support is crucial to our mission. Every donation, big or small, makes a difference. And with 84 cents of every dollar going directly to supporting our families, you can rest assured your support truly changes lives. The Marty Lyons Foundation operates 11 chapters in 14 states now, working tirelessly to reach as many children as we can. This dedication goes hand in hand with our commitment to transparency and accountability, earning us top ratings on Charity Navigator, Great Nonprofits, and Candid, which underscores our dedication to those we serve. The Marty Lyons Foundation grants wishes to children ages 3 to 17. And what really makes this foundation so special is our willingness to grant not only a first wish, but also consider a second wish to a child who continues to battle a life-threatening illness. We stand by these children, offering them hope and strength through the power of dreams, giving our children the courage to wish for more.
What's your purpose in life? Is your purpose in life to live in the big house and drive the nice car? No. Your purpose in this life is to make it a little bit better for those that follow and realize that we live for today to see a better tomorrow.
Visit MartyWyonsFoundation.org to learn more and get involved.
Welcome back to Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com and the Ryan Anthony Head Start Fund. I'm Peter Schwartz. We are still trying to track down former Islander Benoit Hogue, so hopefully we will get him on for a few minutes before the end of the show, which is coming up at 2 o'clock. But in the meantime, we'll take your phone calls at 516-465-3990 if you'd like to do so. A lot's to talk about on the table. And one thing we really didn't get a chance to talk a lot about this week on the show because there was so many things that were going on, but obviously the Giants getting absolutely spanked by the Patriots on Monday night, and it just makes you wonder, which team is better off right now, the Jets or the Giants? Because you could look at the Giants and they got a pretty good defense, and they got the quarterback Jackson Dart. But you have to obviously now have serious questions about the regime. You've already fired Brian Daboll and you fired the defensive coordinator. Mike Kafka has not given you any indication whatsoever that he is competent enough to be a head coach in the National Football League. And then you have the Jets, who obviously have a lot of work to do filling out their roster. But between Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn, you're starting to think that maybe the right regime is in place. They still need a quarterback. And they're going to have 5 first-round picks over the next 2 years to find that said quarterback, plus continue to build around. And I think almost right now, early in the season, you might have said, well, the Giants are in the better position than the Jets are. But now, with 5 weeks or so to go in the regular season, I think it's completely flipped. I think the Jets have the clearer future right now because you have to go on the assumption that they're going to find a quarterback here, whether it's in the draft, free agency, or trade. They've got the 5 first-round picks. The players have been playing hard for Aaron Glenn all season. They've won 3 out of their last 5 games after the 0-7 start. And obviously, look, there's still a lot of things to clean up. Even Aaron Glenn would admit that there are a lot of things to clean up. But I think the Jets are going in the right direction. I think for the first time you can start to think, and look, you see some of the minor moves that were made by Muji. They bring in a couple of wide receivers in Mechie and Adonai Mitchell, who had a touchdown catch in the game on Sunday. But right now, the Giants look like a complete, total, utter mess. Joe Shane spoke the other day as if he's coming back, but I mean, if you're the Giants right now, how do you bring anybody back from this regime? I mean, it's a total mess. You obviously have your quarterback, and even Jackson Dart, as incredible as he's looked in the time that he's played, you have to be concerned that he's injury prone, and he's already said he's not going to change the way he plays. So you almost have to keep that in the back of your mind that, hey, we've got this franchise quarterback, but we're not so sure how often he's going to even be on the field. And I know it's still early, and he's only got he's injured a couple of times. Maybe it's not the story of his career, but I think if you're a Giant fan, you have to be somewhat concerned that and you saw right away the Patriots went after him. Now they were legal hits, but the Patriots went after him, knowing he was coming off a concussion, missing 2 games. They went after him, and he's going to be a target. There's no question that he'll be a target going forward. But I think when you look at these 2 teams, the Jets and the Giants, I think the script has completely been flipped. I think the Jets have the bright future. I think they've got their regime in place. Now, again, I've talked about this on the show before. We got a problem with the owner. And if the owner stays out of the way and lets these guys cook and let these guys do their job, maybe it could work out. But I still feel like Woody Johnson is the person that's holding the Jets back. But I think if all things being equal, I think the Jets have the brighter future, and I think you have to be really concerned if you're a Giants fan. You have to be concerned because this is a ship that's not going in the right direction, and I got to think at the end of the season, you have to get rid of Joe Shane and bring in a new general manager. And I don't know what Mike Kafka was thinking on Monday night with some of the decisions that he made. And I know it was kind of an extreme take by a number of people on social media after that game on Monday night. But I think it was almost true that how do you let this guy coach your team anymore after some of the decisions that he made in that game on Monday night? It just didn't make any sense to me. And again, if I'm the Giants, I start from complete and total scratch. Complete and total scratch. Tony, you've got the thumbs down Schwartz on Sports logo up there. And I just spent 10 minutes, praising the Jets that they're going in the right direction.
You did, but then
I know there's one with me with the thumbs up. I've seen it. I've posted it.
All right, there it. I just put it on. Getting scared.
I'm looking up there, and I'm like, you're not going to see one with me with Giant stuff on. Then you can put the thumbs down.
That's why I did the thumbs down, because you were.
But and I don't like to pick on you, but
sugarcoat it all you want. It's a lost season, so just the thumbs down no matter what.
I understand that. I get it. I totally. But in the context of what, thank you very much for changing it.
I could
but
put
in
up
the context of what I was talking about, I could.
True.
Like, why would you put the thumbs down on there? Just unless you were just a vile, bad human being.
Well, it's about time you figured that out about me. But I could put up an American Soccer Club logo. I could do that.
What's that? It's funny you just brought that up.
You're welcome.
Thank you. If those who missed the show on Tuesday, I presented some news this week that I'm going to be working I started on Monday as the communications coordinator for American Soccer Club New York. So I'm going to be doing a bunch of different things, some PR, some writing for the website. When the season starts in May, I'll be their PA announcer. We're going to do some sales. And it's funny because a lot of the reaction, and this comes on the heels of my 5-month run as general manager of the New York Dragons of the Entertainment Football Association, of which never got off the ground and resulted in the resignation of me and my 2 other front office people at the exact same time on June 2nd. So there's, again, I'm not going to go any deeper into that other than the 2 words of pending litigation. But it's funny because a lot of people have brought up, oh, you're involved with another startup. I'm like, well, this is not a startup. They actually played last season. And I was actually offered a job with them last year that I unfortunately had to turn down because I took the football job, and you know how that worked out. But it's been great. My joke has been when people ask me to sum up the 5 months with the Dragons, I'm like, and here was the thing: we had no towels. Like we literally couldn't buy anything. Like we had nothing. We had no uniforms. We didn't have a field. And again, we went on a site tour of the Coliseum to see where our locker room was going to be. And our equipment manager, who was going to be our equipment manager, like, well, where do we get towels from? And I asked ownership about it, and they basically said, well, you're going to have to trade for them. We're not going to pay for any towels. So my constant joke when people ask me about how was your time with the Dragons, I'm like, well, we had no towels. In fact, a few weeks ago, my wife Cheryl and we went to one of Bradley's away games for Post University. I think we were I want to say we were at American International College. I think it was the game in Springfield, and usual thing that we do after the game is we'll see Bradley coming off the field. Then Bradley goes into the locker room, gets changed, and we'll go on the bus. This is for the away games. He'll go on the bus, and then we'll leave. So he goes, he's going to come back out and talk to us before he gets on the bus and we go home. And he comes out of the locker room with this big grin on his face. And I'm like, oh, something must have happened here because Bradley, for Bradley to be smiling like that. And I said, what's the matter? He goes, Dad, I don't need to bring up bad memories, but I went in there to go take a shower and there weren't enough towels in the locker room. So I just, the only thing I could do was I wanted to cry, but I really just laughed about it. But so far, everything has been great with American Soccer Club. Again, it's not a startup. They actually played last year in the National Professional Soccer League at Hofstra, and we're going to have some real good announcements coming up next week. We're going to announce our home venue for 2025. We're going to announce our ticket information. We're going to unveil what our jersey is going to look like next week. These are all real things. Like I can actually reach out and touch and feel them. Like we're going to have uniforms and all kinds of great stuff. In fact, I was on a conference call this morning. We were talking about we were kind of spitballing, brainstorming ideas and everything. And I said, hey, what happens if there's a festival or a street fair or something that we get invited to? Like, do we have a tent? Yeah, we have a tent. I'm like, oh, great. Because I tried to buy a tent with the Dragons and I was told no. And then I said, do we have promotional things to give away? And they're like, yeah, of course we have that. I'm like, this is fantastic because I didn't have that with the Dragons either. Like, I literally had nothing. Like, it's basically like putting your hand into my pocket, reaching in, and there's nothing. It's cobwebs. Like, that's what we had. And with American Soccer Club, they actually played. Like, they played 10 games last year.
Wow.
And 10 games this year, plus an exhibition game against the Cosmos that will be here on Long Island. So I'm really excited. I actually just wrote my first story for the website that I think has been posted while we were here doing the show. So look for that on my socials, and I'm pretty excited to get going. A lot of good stuff is coming on. And last thing I'll mention on that is, as many people know, soccer has a rich history here on Long Island. Just about every professional team that is called Long Island home has won some semblance of a championship. You go back to, people know of the Islanders dynasty in the Coliseum from 80 to 83, but almost concurrently to that, 79 to 82, the New York Arrows won 4 straight MISL championships led by Shep Messing and Steve Jungle. You also had the Long Island Rough Riders in 1995 won the national championship of the U.S. ISL. And there were some players that would go on to play top-level professional soccer playing on that team, like Tony Miola and Chris Armas. They were all on that Rough Riders team. And also the Cosmos, when they came back, well, actually 72, the Cosmos played at Hofstra. They won the championship. And when the Cosmos came back in 2013, they would win 3 more championships playing at Hofstra. So there's a lot of history about soccer on Long Island, which is one of the reasons why I am so excited to be part of American Soccer Club New York. Unfortunately, we were not able to hook up with Benoit Hogue. We will try to reschedule that for Tuesday. Obviously, something must have come up. We'll check. Hopefully that everything is okay with him, and we'll try and get him on the show on Tuesday. And next week, we will be on Tuesday and Thursday, our regular time of 1 o'clock. That will do it for this edition of Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com and the Wright Anthony Head Start Fund. Thanks to our social media coordinator, Leanne Burgess, who did a terrific job last night with Emil Heineman covering that event, so we thank her for that. Thanks to Tony Walker and everyone here at Governors. Sports Bash is sponsored by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, by Coaches Collectibles, and by the Marty Lyons Foundation. For our entire crew, I'm Peter Schwartz saying thank you for watching. Sports Bash returns on Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Have a great weekend. Let's go Islanders tonight. Welcome home, Brock Nelson, but we don't want you scoring any goals tonight. See you later.